Hi, welcome to all our listeners and attendees today for our session today on Career Mantra for Cloud Computing. I am Divya Gupta from FutureSkills NASSCOM, and with me I have Suraj Dutt from AWS Training Delivery Manager. With 17 plus years of telecom and IT service experience across training, engineering, sales, learning services, and business development, Suraj leads the AWS training delivery business in India. With this session today, we aim to demystify the cloud careers for all of you attendees here and get some expert advice on career mantras on cloud computing from Suraj. I really hope that this session will be a great starting point for all of you to understand what it requires to start your journey in cloud computing and what are the skills needed to be part of this exciting opportunities that we have in cloud computing. Now, before I hand it over to Suraj and fire off all the questions about a career mantra, just few data points I want to share with all our listeners today. You know, there was a report called India, the Next Data Center Hub. And as per that report, the global public cloud service market is expected to grow at a CAGR of about 14%. And it will expected to reach 364 billion by 2025. Now, this is the global market growth. If you look at where India falls in, India's public cloud service is expected to reach 5 billion in over next 2 years. Now, this report also highlights that the key factors driving this growth are your cloud service providers and your BFSI sector. There was another report which was released by Zinnov on cloud adoption, which says that the cloud service segment is expected to grow at 17.5%, and it will reach the growth of revenue of $1 trillion, $1 trillion US dollars by 2028. So on one report, we're talking about reaching about 360 billion and by 2025. And we're seeing that by 2028, it's actually grow to 1 trillion. So both those data points, if you look at it, we can clearly see there is the enterprises have begun to really rely heavily on cloud services for automation to obtain resources on demand with limitless computing cycles and storage, right? Now, with the increasing demand, both globally and in India, we're also seeing that there is a shortage in our talent. Nearly 3/4 of IT decision makers believe their organization have lost revenue due to lack of cloud expertise, and which is resulting in about a loss of about 200 million per year, right? So we have a huge demand, but there is a lack of talent to meet that growing demand. There is clear indicator that businesses are in a dire need of cloud experts, and perhaps rescaling and upskilling of a young talent is a key step that needs to be taken. So Suraj, help me understand. You know, you heard this data. There is a huge demand again, you know, supply and demand, right? Demand is not going away. If anything, it's actually accelerating. Why is there so much demand in cloud? Because if I go back and look at all these future technologies, right now I'll go back and date myself. But when I was doing my MBA way back in 2006, 2007, and I took one of my classes in IT, one of my classes was on IT, and my topic was cloud computing. And literally, I was with Intel working in technology, but cloud was still very new to me. Right? I was literally scrounging and trying to figure out, you know, what to write on cloud, what is a hybrid cloud, what is a public cloud. It was all foreign language to me, being in technology at that time. And now I'm talking fast forwarding almost 14, 15 years. And cloud is still at the center of all the technologies, right? We look at AI, we look at IoT, big data, cloud is still central. So help us understand, why is cloud growth still on the fast pace, and your thoughts on it?
Thank you, Divya. I appreciate the introduction, and it's great speaking with you all today. Divya, just let me know if you can hear me well today, so I
Yes.
can start. All right,
Yeah.
thank you. So, so you actually shared a lot of data points, Divya. I loved it because you took my thunder away.
Sorry
so,
about that. Didn't mean to do that at all.
I'll definitely share a few data points which are important, and why enterprises are moving to cloud. And because enterprises are moving to cloud, so there are a lot of opportunities which are being created. Cloud offers huge potential, folks. You can deliver successful, and the most important, the innovative business outcomes. This is what we are actually targeting, and every employer today is looking for innovative business outcomes. I will share 5 benefits of moving to AWS cloud. Uh, the first is agility. It's very easy to remember. You can, I don't know if in school days we used to remember, difficult thing like I call it ACEIG. So ACEIG. So I'll explain you what are the benefits by organizations are moving to cloud. The first is agility. Um, so AWS lets customers spin up resources in no time, which means you can deploy thousands of servers in minutes. It was not possible earlier. Divya, I'm 100% sure while you were working in Intel, uh, the normal setup time for a server was what, 6 to 8 hours? It used to
Yes,
take.
yes, yes,
Now,
yes, yeah.
in minutes, you can deploy thousands of servers across the globe. Isn't it wonderful? So this is the first benefit you see. The second you see is cost saving. And if you look at how people end up moving to the cloud, almost always the conversation ends up being cost. So AWS allows customers to trade capital expense for variable expense, and you pay and use model is what we offer. All right. Many point in time, customer comes and say that no, okay, uh, variable is a more expensive, but that is not the case. If you look at what we have done in the past, since inception, we have reduced our services cost. You'll be surprised to know the number, 80 times.
Wow.
Yeah. So, so we have AWS economies of scale because of which we can do that. And another example I can share, Divya, is Dow Jones, which is our customer, and they estimated that they have saved by moving their data centers to AWS cloud. They have saved 100 million US dollars.
Oh,
Isn't it amazing? So these are 2 reasons I shared. So let's move to the third one. Third is elasticity. Now, what used to happen earlier, I'm sure many of you will recall, we always used to provision our IT resources to ensure that whenever we have a high capacity or peak hours, our system should be able to handle that requirement. But now with AWS Cloud, you can scale up, scale down as per the need of the business and in no time, right? So that is one benefit. It helps in saving costs too. The fourth reason is the most interesting one because we in Amazon have one of the leadership principle, and we love that. It's invent and simplify. We do love innovations, and this innovation word, you can do with cloud. Why? Because what is your primary business? Your primary business may be a travel, for example, but then you don't have to worry about the underlying infrastructure, IT infrastructure, and that can only happen with cloud. You don't have to worry on how many servers are required and all that stuff. You just concentrate on your application. There will be faster time to market. So you just innovate. You don't worry about the underlying infrastructure. So that's a benefit you see with cloud. And the last and the most important one, if today I want to set up a business global, I can go global in minutes. So it's ACE IG, so G stands for go global in minutes. So you can say that in AWS we do have a concept of region. So which means it's a physical location around the world where we have cluster of data centers, and we call them availability zones. And if you choose AWS Infra, customer can leverage 77 availability zones across 24 geographical regions worldwide. And the good news is this, Divya, we don't have any plan to stop here. We are still growing. All right. So if you look at why we are moving towards cloud, the answer is very well there. So A, C, E, I, G. So A for agility, I for C for cost, E for elasticity, I for innovation, and G for go global in minutes. So remember that, guys. Thank
Awesome.
you.
So I will remember that. Do AEIG, agility, cost savings, elasticity, innovation, and global in minutes.
Yeah.
So good. So while you've explained why the need for cloud is still growing, even though this is not a new technology, right? It's been there for more than a decade now. So just help our listeners who are starting their journey in cloud. Where do they begin? A lot of times, students are graduating and they don't know where to exactly begin their career. If they say, okay, I want to do something in cloud. But so help demystify this, where do they begin? And
Sure.
your experience, you have been part of cloud for the longest time. So just share some experiences from your journey.
Sure, Divya. Thank you for asking this. This is very close to my heart. I would love to share my journey from being an engineer who had never used the cloud to working in cloud business. For the majority of my career, I worked in telecom. Started as a GPRS edge consultant. So the very first edge and GPRS services I was working in India. And at that point, it was very start of my career. And then later I joined a service provider and I handled IP, MPLS, service provider networks. And later I joined a telecom business. So for me, getting introduced to cloud was a very interesting story, because there was a time when there was no cloud in telecom, at least. There was no IP in telecom, at least. So I went into telecom and I did IPification there. After that, we moved to cloud. So after IP, everything moved to cloud. So I'll share one very interesting statement, and this is what my observation is, Divya. I will say IP is the new cloud. Cloud is the new IP. Sorry. So why I say that? So people who learned IP in 90s, they reaped most of the benefits. And now, if you start career in cloud, you will reap most of the benefits for at least next 20 years. Right? So the very first training I attended to upskill myself was cloud practitioner. You just have to go to our website, aws.training. There's a 6-hour course which is available, and it's free of cost. Post that, after attending that training, it was just not one go I did that. I attended it again and again, because you need to acquire new skills. I went and thought of validating my knowledge, and how I did that, I cleared cloud practitioner certification, and that gave me a lot of confidence, because when I was in the customer, when customer was in the room, the conversation I used to do with customer, I was with full confidence talking about it. So that first step was cloud practitioner. Divya, I lost your voice. Is that?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
No, I was talking on
yeah.
mute. So what you're saying is, if somebody has to, let's see, if somebody graduates from college and they've gone through their degree programs and everything, and they're not sure where to start from. So you would recommend that this cloud practitioner certification course, which is a 6-hour learning module, basically helps a learner get basic skills, understanding what cloud is all about. And from there on, then they can probably choose where they want to go next. But this one program will give them the basics of what cloud computing is all about.
Exactly.
Perfect, perfect. Now, you talked about where the learner can start their journey. There is also, when the learners also are always skeptical and they always want to know what they should keep in mind from employers' perspective. What are those must skills, set of skills that they absolutely need to have? Because a lot of students, when again, if I go back to my school time, when I graduated, I would focus on when I went through interviews, it was okay. I said, okay, this is what I want to do. This is the courses I have done. But there was always that correlation missing, that, okay, what is industry looking for? And a lot of times when we have gone and talked to students here also, they like, okay, we are studying this curriculum. Sometimes it's not the most updated to what industry requirements are. So it'll be really great to hear from you, what should they be keeping in mind? What, besides going through this cloud practitioner course, what are the other skills that you would think, generic skills, but you would, what they should be thinking of or learning, and from employers' perspective?
Thanks for asking this question, Divya. The reason I'm happy to answer this is I work with day in, day out with the team who is responsible to ensure that all students who are passing out, if they are AWS certified, they get placed right in good companies. And the kind of conversation we do have, I always ask them, what is that you people are looking for? Because most of my time is getting used to talk to professionals in the industry, but I love to talk to students. And whenever I get opportunity, I go and deliver sessions for students too. Uh, so employers today, what they're looking for, they're looking for AWS certified professionals. And most important is we all concentrate on one thing. We need to know the programming language. I need to know Java, Python, and all. But apart from having these regular programming skills, they're looking for people who have hands-on experience and who have a working knowledge on AWS console. So if somebody clears certification but then never went on AWS console, let me tell you, it will be difficult for that person to get into any company. So they also check one more thing. They check whether you participate in hackathons. That is another point they look for. Um, and one very interesting thing, the way I wanted to share, which recently came up, and that is a trend which I'm looking at. Uh, they are looking for specialty tracks also. So it is just not that you need to be a solution architect or let's say developer, or you are a system administrator. They're looking for a specialty tracks, for example, security, machine learning, for example. So that is also a demand right now. And what I can talk about machine learning, there are two very interesting research which recently came up, and there are millions of jobs which have been created by AI ML and will be created in coming years. But if you look at the Tencent research, there are only 3 lakh AI professionals available in the globe right now. So there's a potential you see there. So this is what employers are looking forward to. If somebody is good in mathematics or not good in mathematics, want to start something on AI ML, you're welcome, because you don't need to be a mathematician to, or don't need to clear your PhD to come into ML line now. So that is one thing we are looking forward to. Go for specialty tracks if you don't want to go for SA or developer track.
So you just mentioned, how these, I think AWS certification, basic, go beyond the programming languages, get hands-on experience, be part of hackathons, specialty tracks, machine learning. So, but a lot of times these students, like while industry is looking for it, what would you tell somebody graduating from college, right? A lot of these things are more, people who have gone through experience and everything. But if if a student came to you from college and said, look, I have done an engineering degree, but I'm still not industry ready, right? Because again, if I go and quote the data that we have from Zenov results, right? Literally all this the engineering students, not even STEM, I'm talking engineering students graduating from engineering colleges, only 10% of them are industry ready today, right? Only 10%.
Yeah.
So for those students who are not industry ready, just help them maybe just more specific and say, while, we all know that AWS is a global leader in cloud, in general, what would you say if keeping aside just the one specific architecture of AWS, what advice would you give them for these fresh college graduates? Like just maybe 3-4 things that they need to start. Cloud practitioner, you already called out. Besides that, what would be your advice?
All right. So it's very important. Before even I answer this question, I wanted to share, when somebody wants to come into cloud, so they have to decide something. Okay. I'll share my screen. Maybe just allow me a second. So let me know if you all can see my screen.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Now,
Yeah.
so this is our website. It's aws.training. If you just go there, you see that there are different tracks which are available. So anybody who is coming out of a college, fresh graduate, first thing which they ideally should do is the cloud practitioner, which I mentioned. And post that, that is where the actual game starts. You need to decide what is that you want to pick up. Whether you want to become, because there are specific roles in cloud. So one is solution architect, the other is developer, and the third is system operations administrator. Now, first of all, let's understand what are the difference between these three roles. So solution architects are the most in demand, I'll say, because they are the builders. They build solutions. They build highly available and resilient solutions for the customers. They meet with customers, they understand their problems, and then they design a solution. Post they design a solution, then the system operation and administrators, then they automate those application networks and system, and they manage those solutions, right? And then there's another track which we have is developer track. So if somebody is not from infra background and is doing development and developing cloud applications, then definitely this is another track you have. So you see, after doing cloud practitioner, you have three options in front of you, whether you want to become solution architect, developer, or you want to go and do system operation administrator role. Now, this is not somewhere, confusion is. So first of all, you need to ask yourself where your skill sets are, what do you love to do, whether you like to build solutions, whether you want to develop application, or you want to manage whatever is built by, let's say, solution architects. So that is the role which you can pick it up. But what my experience, Divya, is that as you spend more and more time in cloud, so somebody joining with only solution architect associate certification or professional certification, who is SA, he tends to learn almost all the tracks. And what I was talking about, this is not the end. This is the associate level, if you see. Now, if you just want to go ahead and just validate your knowledge to manage the complex solutions, then we do have professional level certification. So for example, solution architect professional is one, which is for solution architects who will build complex solutions. And for other track, now, what is that professional level certification for developer, for example, or let's say system operation guy who don't want to become a solution architect? For them, they can pick DevOps engineer professional. So that is a professional level certification for them. In addition to that, once you are done with SA and you wanted to be SA, and then the kind of questions you will get from your customers, then you can pick up your specialty tracks like security specialty. You can go for machine learning specialty, data analytics, database specialty. So these are various options available. So if I show you all in one go, you will get confused. So first of all, just go step by step. First is CP, and then you decide which track you want to pick up first, as a solution architect or developer, for example. I hope, Divya, this answered the question which anybody will have, how to get into a cloud journey. What is that I need to do?
So I hear you, and I think it's a great, at least you have set up like how the building blocks, what it takes to come into cloud, and different several tracks of cloud. So there are few other questions I do have, but before I jump into the master class that the AWS is actually offering on FutureSkills Prime platform, which is an e-learning platform in collaboration with NASSCOM and MeitY, we have a masterclass. So I want you to talk a little bit more on that class, but I do have another question and follow up on, we talked about how our college graduates, engineering students can benefit and start the journey. But let's first talk about AI class. And I do want to go back to our line of question about what about the non-STEM graduates and people who have done their profession, they're already professionally, they're already in a different profession, but they want to move to cloud. But I You want to bring out the AI master
I'll definitely. So
first.
let me take this question first, Divya, and then I'll talk about masterclass, which is
Okay,
a
perfect. So
collaboration.
or
Yeah.
but these are the two questions I personally would like to know, because a lot of people have come up and said, like, look, I'm not an engineer, but I
Hmm.
figure out what can I do in cloud. So if just few words, some advice or some key points for our learners, and then talk about the masterclass.
Uh, I I see that this is a question which is a very important one, because anybody who is already working in a different field and wanted to come into cloud, because that is the need of the hour, how to take it. So I'm going to spend a little time on this, maybe 5 minutes, Divya. Uh, so individual starting a career in cloud may not have a decade of hands-on experience. That is very much okay. The best part is this: I will never forget the night I first experimented with AWS. I remember I set up a free tier account. I vowed to stay up away until I had my server up and running, because normally server used to take a lot of time to up and running, and it took only 8 minutes. And after 8 minutes, I was logging into my newly deployed instance, and I realized at that point in time, world has changed, buddy. And to stay relevant, I had to change too. And my peer network, if you ask me, for all those people who are thinking to come into cloud, what will happen? My peer network was largely centered around the telecom domain, even today. And I was just thinking, and this was a question which I was asking myself, would I be leaving my friends behind if I step into a cloud role? Another fear I had was, would I be able to develop new skills quickly enough to stay relevant to my employer? But thought of becoming irrelevant was terrifying. And if you're in a position to reinvent yourself today, I'm going to give you 4 tips. Okay. The first is you need to manage change. So accepting change means that you have made the decision to adapt and grow to support the thing coming next. It's normal to worry about unknown future. Personally, my biggest fear was not knowing how my role was going to shift. What did I do? I sought out people who had successfully transitioned from telecom to cloud. I got in touch with them, understood, guys, I am very well settled in telecom. Should I move into cloud? I'm getting opportunity. So it really worked well. And I got a lot of confidence after talking to them. So figure out people with whom you can connect to ask questions and discuss your fear. So that is the first thing. You need to manage your change. That is something. Job will definitely change. That is for sure. Second thing, please identify the training track. There are a lot of options available today if you type AWS on any search engine. Understand that what has worked for other people may not work for you. So you need to identify your own learning style, what will work well for you. Okay. I'm telling you this because there are a lot of options I see every day coming on the cheaper options also coming, the expensive coming. So you need to take a call there, what will work well for you. Okay. Personally, I have found online training courses on aws.training, and those are free. There are more than 500 online learnings which are available on our website, which you can go and access. You just need to create your account. That's all. So you can develop your skills. But only thing, remember, you have to do it again and again to develop those skills, right? And then, very important thing, Divya, and this is very close, and this is something most of the people miss. You need to build relationships. Consider the rate at which cloud is changing, expanding and improving. And I'm going to share one data point with all of you, and you will love this. Today, we have 7,000 plus features and services in Amazon. Look at the pace of innovation, my dear friends. Nobody knows in Amazon all those services. And if I tomorrow need to know about something which I don't know, I need to rely on other people, my friends, my colleagues. So I need to build those relationships. If you don't do that, you're stuck. So last tip, rinse and repeat. Just stay updated. Make sure that you are not, if you're done certification, you think now I've done certification, I don't need to update myself. Let me tell you, every day we are bringing up new features, new services. You need to be up to date. So what you can do, uh, uh, one is that you can go and look at the blog which Jeff Barr writes. What's new, is a kind of blog. It is available. The other is you can see that Amazon in association with NASSCOM Future Skills, is launching India's largest cloud skilling event. And it's called AWS Masterclass. This is what Divya was talking about. So that aims to train learners on AWS Cloud Practitioner Essentials and certify them on solution architecting. So you have everything available now. So back to you, Divya.
So do you want to talk a little bit more about the AI Masterclass? It's being offered through the FutureSkills Prime platform to all our learners. It's a free course. It's offered by AWS.
Yeah.
What will the learner get out of the AI Masterclass?
Sure.
Is it for anybody and everybody? Just
It's for everybody. Good you called out, Divya. And if you're wondering what skills are in demand for emerging technologies, because everybody wants to work on emerging technologies. What is AI? What is ML? What is this AWS all about? So look no further. The Competency Standards Framework, overview by Sector Skill Council, NASSCOM, is a perfect yardstick that defines key competencies. Okay, and you will be job ready after that. So this framework has been developed by the industry, and it is government approved also. So please understand that the competency standards, how it helps you. It creates a common vocabulary around academia, industry, and government around skills to ensure that there is a perfect balance between demand and supply. So this level of benchmarking could actually be blessing in disguise for the industry, which is grappling with the shortage of talent, and academia, which is struggling to keep pace with the ever-changing skill landscape.
So now you took the words out of my mouth, because that was what I was going to talk about. The standards. So just to give our viewers a little bit background on what we're talking about, the competency standards, we at NASSCOM, as part of Sector Skill Council, developed the competency framework for all the future technologies, and cloud computing being one of them. And, typically, and I come from MNC background, and when I joined, I was always like, why are these competencies important? Everybody, we know what we want from each organization perspective. So what is the value that we bring as developing these competencies? And, so this, like you said, Suraj, these competency frameworks are nothing but the skills required to perform a job, right? And this is done in collaboration with industry, right? So when industry comes together in developing, we're talking industry language, and then government endorses it, and that's the reason they become the standards for the country. But now, so yes, we got together, developed these as industry. And the beauty of that is when we are looking at, and I'll go back to AWS example, there are 2 courses that we have from your tracks where the learning outcomes, or the course covers all the learning outcomes that have been defined in our competency framework, right? So your standard courses, which reinsures us, and even to our learners and everybody, that what we have developed as a track or as a competency framework actually is talking the industry language. So on FutureSkills Prime, we have courses from AWS that are aligned to our competency framework. What I also want to talk to learners about is on FutureSkills Prime, while this session is focused on cloud computing, we also have other technologies. If you want to understand, what is AI, what is big data, just to have an intelligent or table conversation with all your with your clients, or even with your friends, right? Just buzzword for each technology. We have micro learning content on our platform for all technologies. And if you want to know that about cloud before you even start the cloud practitioner, we have the micro-size learning, micro-bit learning, which is like 25-30 minutes of stitched content together, all open source, all free on the platform that the learners can consume on a platform. And so start with the micro learning to the different courses we have on a platform and FutureSkills, not just on cloud, but other technologies also. So Suraj, I want to take just one last question, and then I want to take a couple of questions from the audience. When you talked about competency framework, and you saw how the AWS courses also are actually aligned on our platform. How do you see the importance of this alignment with the standard framework that we have developed? What would be your, of wisdom or your advice to the learners about the importance of these framework, competency framework?
Okay, I'll not take much time here, Divya, but then in fact, Amazon recently pledged to help 29 million people around the world to grow their tech skills by 2025. And all these learning has to be based on free cloud computing skills trainings. So if industry needs matches with what learners learn, half of the skill gap and challenges are automatically get closed, right? So if someone is interested in learning cloud essentials or any other trending technologies, now what are these trending technologies? AI, blockchain, IoT, right? AR, VR, right? Then don't forget to hop onto FutureSkills Prime, because there are many courses which are in pipeline to be onboarded in NASSCOM FutureSkills Prime. We are working with them closely, and my team is working with NASSCOM to ensure that you get what is required by the industry. So half of the job is done when you do this. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Surya. So we have few minutes, so we can take some questions from audience.
Sure, we can definitely do that.
So Amrita, could we get a couple of questions?
Thank you so much for that, Suraj and Divya. So we have a few questions here. It's a very specific one. Could you please let us know the skills required for solution architect or admin roles, or administrative roles for in cloud? Is that something we can answer right here, or we can get back to Nisha?
We can definitely do that. Just give me a moment. So I will request everyone, if Guru asked this question because I wanted to cover this. So there are some AWS ramp-up guides which you see here. It's available on our website also. So you can go there and you can select whether by a role or by solution. You can select that. So if I just go by role, these are different ramp-up guides which are available. So you can download the guide. I can do it in front of you, and I can show you that what all skills are required. And there are different learnings which are also associated to those skills which are available. There are some web-based learnings. There are some case studies. There are some instructor-led training which are available. So you can definitely go ahead and do this. So for example, if somebody wants to become a solution architect, there's a ramp-up guide which has been curated. End-to-end ramp-up guide is available, including all the resources.
Thank you so much,
I hope
Suraj.
I answered your question.
Yeah, I also hope so. One more question, which is very interesting, and I think we have answered this in various forms, but I'll ask it again because there are 2-3 of these. Is this cloud certificate, any cloud certification must have for any for the engineering degree a must, or somebody who's from BCom also can pursue this?
I'll say, the very first interesting thing which I came to know when I joined AWS was when I was interviewing, I learned from my leader that don't look at what the education background is, look at what the person is bringing up on the table. And that is the learning which I have. And that's what I want to share with you. You don't need any specific background, my dear friends. If you want to come into cloud today, you can come up even with any kind of area. Even we train students from diverse background, medical profession. You just imagine that you're talking about commerce. I'm talking about medical profession. So we have trained them also. So anybody can join Cloud Journey. As I mentioned in the very start, it's a new IP, because what was IP in 90s, now it's cloud. So if you start your journey today, you're home.
Awesome. Amrita, we can probably take a couple of more questions.
So another question which I see here, and sounds interesting to me, is that can a cloud practitioner certification be relevant to an IoT related job profile, or is there any other specific associate course for it? So basically what we are seeing is we can see some parallel movement between emerging technologies. So a cloud relating to IoT, you already mentioned a relation to AI. Can you answer this one for us, Suraj?
Sure. I can do that. Can you repeat the first part? Maybe I missed the little one. So you said
Can
that
a cloud practitioner certificate
yeah.
be relevant to an IoT job role?
Okay. So this is a very interesting one. So let me share with you something interesting. Anybody who is coming with ML background today, uh, they are expert in ML. But then end of the day, you need to know the infrastructure, right? You need to run your services on that infrastructure. If you don't know about that infrastructure, it'll be tough for you. So similarly, if you want to go for IoT or any other domain and you want to come on AWS, then you need to start with something as a basic step. The very first step is cloud practitioner. That's the reason why we suggested it. You go with cloud practitioner, you understand what are different features, services available, what is EC2, and because all these services are running on top of EC2, for example, only then you'll understand the correlation between the IoT, ML, and the services, the basic services which you're talking about. So the first step for you is definitely a cloud practitioner if you want to come into cloud.
And also, Suraj, I would like to add to the IoT specifically, right? When we talk of IoT is really not a technology by itself.
Yeah.
IoT is a combination. So if you have an IoT solution, what do you have? You have devices that have sensors, right?
Yeah.
Then you have your servers. And in the back, you have cloud. So
Yeah.
cloud is a very integral part of any IoT solution. I don't think you can have any IoT solution without having a cloud solution.
Right.
Be a small data center, it could be a bigger data center of where you storage the data, but that's an integral part. So I think if you have a cloud practitioner, or any cloud certification for IoT, I mean, I think it's a given. It only enhances your knowledge and actually makes you a better IoT solution person. Because
I agree with you.
I always said, because when I was working in in IoT, and I had IoT, smart cities was part of my charter.
Mm-hmm.
So there was IoT solutions, right? But servers and clouds was central. You could not keep them away. So I think whoever has asked this question, I can tell you one thing from my own personal experience also. Having a cloud knowledge or having any cloud, understanding on cloud is only going to help you in your IoT jobs. So, I think we're running out of time here. I really want to thank Suraj for your insights and sharing your journey and your insights. And I hope that our listeners at least have been able to get some basic understanding of what it takes to start your journey in cloud. So thank you, Suraj. And I would encourage our learners to go to FutureSkills Prime, sign up for the AI Masterclass from AWS, and also please browse through the content we have on our platform, not only just on cloud, but the other technologies. And if you really want to start with the bite-sized learning, just having those table talk, like I said, learn the buzzwords. Please look through our micro learning, which we call digital fluency content on our platform, and explore, and happy learning.
Pleasure is on all mine, Divya. Thanks for inviting me, and
Thank
love
you.
talking to all of you. Thank you.
And great learners, you already see that there is a huge demand on cloud. It's not going anywhere. So, follow your passion. If that's cloud is your passion, please follow it, and happy learning again.
Thank you.